All right, welcome back to The Devil in Detail, the Grendel Reread podcast. I'm Eli.
And I'm Ben, and this is our 75th hologram embossed, double-stamped cover.
Woohoo!
We're going to do
All right.
Grendel number 26. It's the third chapter of God and the Devil. Wowie, wow.
Oh no, what happened to my issue?
Oh my God. Yeah, we both have two copies of this issue, and one of them is beaten up.
One of them is beat. So what's up, Ben?
Week,
oh, what did I do this week? You got me.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
No biggie. Well, last night I did get to see the new Spider-Man film, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Wow.
It was amazing. I mean, did you see when
beep, 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 censored,
and then whenever
censored, Grendel
hit onto
Grendel,
and then oh my God, it was insane.
I couldn't wait. I just watched all the Chinese theater cell phone videos of the spoilers.
I gotcha.
I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, you were like, I just need to know now.
I just need. Well, it's a very weird spoiler situation because can you imagine how disappointing it would be if
censored, censored, censored?
That would just be fucking stupid.
Yes, that would be crazy.
So anyway, we both loved what we saw.
Oh, I loved it. No, I saw the whole thing. It was amazing. Yeah. Me and Manus went last night. It was great fun. So that was really cool. I got, we might not have said this, but Ben is coming out to LA in the middle of January. And so we're going to be doing some live shows, shows in person for us. We're going to be doing some interviews together. We've got some creator interviews lined up and we got some fun stuff that we're doing. Now I got something special for us to play with while you're here. I guess I'll just show it. I don't need to.
I have no idea what this is. Oh, is it screen tone?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We're gonna moray the shit out of that.
Yeah, a bunch of screen tones, deleter paper.
Eli.
Yeah, dude. I thought this would be fun. A couple different flavors of it, and they sent me some free little backgrounds. This definitely has the
great.
80s Grendel feel.
Yeah,
it's a Funky Town Painter Bros stuff. So that's good. I'm really excited to start playing with that. I'll probably end up just scanning it as well and starting to play with it. That way you kind of get a little best of both worlds action out of it. And I just been working, kind of plugging away at my next panel press stuff. I don't always talk about that, but that is a bi-weekly, actually it's now coming out to be weekly comic drop in the Sunday style. So follow Next Panel Press on Instagram to see where my next tale goes. Do I even know? I never know.
There's a dozen cartoonists in there.
There is now, and growing because you can only have 10 photos per Instagram post, and so that's part of the reason why we're going to two drops is because now we have more than 10 people. So that's been pretty great. I've been working on that, and just been working away. What about you, Ben? What you been working on, bud?
Well, I've been working on this cold. It's the first time my family has passed illness amongst the three of us, so that's been exciting.
A family that colds together,
that we
lives together.
I am in the early stages of doing the animation component of the job that I'd storyboarded. And I'm going for a Terry Gilliam meets anime meets UPA limited animation with a little bit of traditional animation in there.
Nice.
We'll see how it works. I have an After Effects artist who's going to be putting it all together and telling me, how awful I am at animating, and hopefully help me. Well, I haven't done it since college, so I don't.
Well,
did I say this? What in college? I watched a video on the animation principles.
Yeah,
and it was 9 minutes long, and I was like, "Wow!" In 2 years, in my college animation department, they taught us about 10% of what's in this 10-minute video. Wow. It was crazy. So I did that. I did a pinup for Dan Mohler's Psychonaut Presents book. I did it. I got the.
I'm working on one as well.
The anaglyph going. I'm really excited to do more anaglyph. I can't believe other people don't do it. Right. It's really easy. It's really fun. And so I enjoyed doing that.
Nice.
And and I taught a lot, and I got my new slate of teaching. I had one section of 5 BFA students over the last 3.5 months, and in mid-January, I think I'm going to come back the day after my right. So I'm going to travel on a Wednesday, but the day before that, I'm going to have my first session. I'm going to have 2 sections of 30 BFA students.
Nice.
Moving forward, so that should we'll see how it works. Shall we Grendel?
Shall we Grendel? Let's go.
Yeah, Grendel. That's great.
Yeah. Vivat Grendel.
It's like the devil is my best friend. On the roads with the pen to the fork end, or till time end. Like Orion, Jupiter, my kin, bloodline private. We control the whole shit. The wolf won't beef, then we feast off the rip. Behold the devil in detail. Behold the devil in detail.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again for that amazing theme song, Manus and Laserdisc. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, guys. Maybe it's about time we updated that theme song. Maybe we can get them to do a new one soon.
Wow.
Oh. All right, so I want to do a couple shout outs to the guys who are being active in the YouTube comments. First one, this person commented mere moments after I posted the video to say this very, very succinct and amazing comment. Just really blew my mind. Lil Zip Tie shout out says, I'm a chicken nugget. And that made me think. I was like, man, me too, right? No, man. I was like just so taken aback by this because this comment came in literally seconds after I posted. And I said, fun way to get people to look at your channel. I'm going to watch your vids. I definitely didn't do that, but it's kind of smart. You comment right after someone posts and then they look at your site. It worked.
Very Eppy Thatcher.
Yeah. Shout out Puttick's Classroom for always commenting. Shout out James Bravo, who said, now, anytime I see money, I just go with this gold, this foul, wretched gold. Yes, that was a great opening. Shout out Zor Zorensen. This was my favorite run by far. He was 19 when it came out. Great comics, great times. Hell yeah. And Aki says, throughout this entire arc, I had this horrible, queasy feeling in my gut as the stakes grew higher and the danger to Orion and his nearest and dearest became greater and greater. This really had a snake. They really had a snake by the tail. And I had a strong feeling that they were just going to be a happy ending, that there wasn't going to be a happy ending for any of them. Yeah. You can just feel all the elements conspiring to bring the situation to a head. Brilliant and unsettling stuff. Haven't read it for about 3 years, but I can clearly remember the feelings of dread it elicited in me.
Well said, Mark.
Yeah, hell yeah. Thanks, dude. All right, stay commenting and stay, if you haven't got a copy of the Grendel zine left, there is a few more issues. So all you got to do is like us on Instagram at GrendelCast, follow us here on YouTube, Eli Schwab, and write a 5-star review on iTunes because you love us. And then send me all that stuff, screen grabs of all that stuff to Eli at cosmiclionproductions.com. And I'll include your address and a self-addressed stamped postage envelope. Now, remember all those old commercials. Anyway, just send me your email and I'll ship you one out. Coolio.
Thanks for joining the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for joining the conversation and thanks for joining the Grendel Army.
You like this one, right? We've got some insights on how this is made.
Yeah, I love it. Shout out to John K. Snyder who sent us info about it for the Grendel zine, actually.
Yeah. John was posting a little bit. Thank you, John.
Yeah, shout out John.
Colors on these covers were by Michelle something or other. Let's call it Michelle L. I don't quite remember.
Yeah, that was really cool. Shout out to John who's been posting and reposting the casts. Again, we're excited. He's down to come. So as soon as we finish this run, we're gonna have John, hopefully Jay Geldof, hopefully Joe Matt, and we'll see what's up.
Yeah, this cover is cool. This is the Eppy Thatcher intro cover. He's got his bloody hands on his workbench. We see all of his tinkerer's shit as he goes mad in his wrappings, wrapped up in his chair. Hands all chopped up.
And they got
Crazy
it. They turned it into the cover for the Dark Horse trade, which then gave us this cool tee.
Oh yeah, I've got my mold filled Dark Horse trade right here.
Mold filled Dark Horse trade.
I will not be opening it. All right, great. Issue 26. Can you believe it? Now, what's really interesting here is this is the issue that Jay Geldof pencils and John inks.
Right. So we finally see that trade-off. Huge shout out to someone who posted in the Matt Wagner Grendel Facebook group, who posted that Jay Geldof Eppy commission they got. I'll show it here on the screen.
Oh,
that was
so cool.
That was badass. Jay Geldof, if you're doing commissions, I want to Eppy now.
Yeah,
that was insane. Commission. Yeah, dude.
The difference between that pairing for one inking and one penciling is pretty subtle.
It's subtle.
I really don't know how to describe it because they're really, really well paired together.
Agreed.
I think there's a few panels in this issue that are like, oh, that's the difference, where
right.
But
it's hard to quantify or put into words, really. It's just kind of like you can just kind of tell the little stylistic differences, I think. They're both awesome, honestly, and they both, and I think it's a little bit kind of like Pander style too. Well, I guess not, because they kind of went back and forth.
Well, in that how well
stuff.
They complement each other,
right? For sure. And one was inking, one was drawing.
Yeah,
kind of that Eastman and Laird first couple episodes.
Speaking of Panders, we open up with this these two service workers from Funky Town.
Absolutely, they're Funky Towning it up. And this is the like kind of the C story through line like we had previously, where there's these rats. There's some rats in the tubes
in the PB&J factory. Now, to me, this is a. I just might have Brazil on the mind, but this has always been a Brazil homage to me.
It seems like it, yeah.
The Bob Hoskins characters doing the central service, the vent work.
Okay. Agreed. This cover too is interesting too. This page 1 here. How it's like an image of Eppy kind of blown up from the next page, kind of set, and then these guys are kind of set over top of it.
I think what it might be is, well, first of all, it sort of calls back to what goes on the covers, where you blow it up and then you do that. But I think what it might be calling to is that there's surveillance footage of Eppy mucking around.
Right. I think you're right. Yeah.
I have no idea how this was done. It might be that they blew up because this artwork it's blown up from the next page. They might have like blown it up and then done it. I don't know. From an analog production standpoint, I remember
because it is the exact art.
Yeah,
it's the exact art. Yeah,
and it's Eppy has rigged up a shopping cart with rockets, and he's having a good time. And he laments how God hates me because I have fun. God doesn't have any fun.
God doesn't like fun, but he created us to maybe have a little bit of fun. And he's cruising around. I mean, I guess this again shows us how he's like a tinkerer. He's kind of like this. He's got this like mad scientist type of vibe. This like Doc Brown goes crazy type of tinkering and turning, he turned a bomb with old pinball machine parts or whatever he says,
Yeah.
So
and he's so damaged by his religious upbringing that he has no interest in participating in a system that could benefit from his, mechanical engineering brilliance.
Exactly.
He just wants to fuck around.
And it's gone wasted, later at the factory. And so, he's doing this lament, and then we see the guys and he's like, yep, I got a big hole down here.
Yeah, they got a rat. So one thing that I noticed about the narrative captions in this book and in this issue, I was reading another book actually that does it, where the narrative captions aren't square, that they sort of like get shaved off at an angle, and I think that's a really elegant solution to when you don't have text that like sort of perfectly fits in like justified rows.
Right, exactly.
Which is,
instead of centering it, justifying it. Yeah.
Because that's like one of my big things in making comics is that I will adjust my scripting just so that I've got balanced rows.
Me
and
too.
this is a really great way to kind of work around that. Really cool.
Yeah, I love that. I like when I make my comics, I try to not make these perfect squares every time. You know, I feel like it kind of gets boring or whatever, but I
Yeah.
like changing it up a little bit.
Well, shout outs to Bob P, who does change it up. We've got
Definitely.
the very, the very Hunter Rose, almost Hunter Rose, sweet. It's
Like
not cursive, but it's
handwriting kind of.
handwritten,
Mhm.
and then the Pellon Cross red future text robot font.
Yeah. And on
that
the
he
next
pulls
page,
off.
we see Pellon viewing this surveillance footage like from the first page, and he's looking at all these Eppy Thatcher stuff. And he's got these like, you know, dot matrix printout kind of punch cards stuff going on here. So that's really cool. So I guess Eppy's been doing these like pirate casts. These what's it called? What was that guy? Max Headroom style,
Max Headroom.
You know, cutting into the feed and spewing his spiritual stuff, his whatever.
Yeah, here he is showing up. It's almost like these TikTok videos where the kids are like real gold.
Yeah.
He's showing off the Elvis Aaron.
Yeah, he stole the belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you know, Elvis used to wear those huge belts, but it makes me think of like a wrestling title belt or something that. It's like gold plated and bejeweled.
One thing that happens, I think maybe twice in this issue, is that the color coded narrative caption drops, and it was a little confusing to me. Like, this is still Pellon Cross talking, I believe, or is this?
I thought it was Eppy,
or is that Eppy talking?
Yeah, I thought it was.
Oh, right.
Even your prophets are gluttons. Yeah, so he's kind of spouting off this kind of stuff. Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Joe Matt in that last panel. That is some good.
Oh man, Joe's
green glow of the screen. Okay.
Well, I also like these triangles in the coloration, like they're in the right corner of that Pellon Cross panel. Like, is that Joe? Was that done by the inker? Was that done by the pencilist?
Yeah, that looks like John.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Looks like John getting funky. Now I think that with the when they've got the screens, that's a white reverse parallel line screen tone that gives it that. I think that's what's going on there. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, on the next page, he's continued to watching, but his eye catches something. He's like, enhance grid, G5, E8, enhance.
Yeah, this is the total Blade Runner. Total Blade Runner homage. And he sees that he's using a specific type of Chinese alloy.
You can tell it's Hattori Hanzo steel.
Yeah, right, for his forks.
Right. It is Cao Cao strong alloy, hollow, room for extras, like wiring or you know, his fun little toys.
This so he's gonna check out the weapons shops on level 5 or whatever.
Right. Only the bottom levels where it's yeah.
This lower left panel of him putting on his gloves is one of the places where I think Jay's personal style kind of comes through, because it's really not a cartoony face. Like it has kind of a more like comic book realism illustration feel to it. And there's a few places in this issue where that happens.
I really like the acting of him kind of like this with his hand in his, you know, that's a good pose. I mean, that's got to be one of those, you know, poses probably he like was looking at a photo, looking at himself or something in the mirror. That's a tough pose, you know. I would have thought.
All right.
I love this door too. Yes. Love it. That's really how you say there is kind of like a little bit of humor. I feel like this is a little bit of humor thrown.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that the second to last panel where you can see the different shapes of the deadbolts really helps sell the sequence.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very cool.
Love it. And this next page, first panel here, Joe Matt.
Yeah.
Killer.
Everyone's on fire.
Yeah, everybody. Page. Yeah. And I mean, it's just hilarious. Like, was this in Matt's script? Was this something funny? Like that the artists decided, but like he's working in a PB&J factory. Like they are squirting peanut butter and jelly on these pieces of bread. That's straight up what this factory makes is PB&Js. Love it.
The like post-apocalyptic atmosphere in the first panel is crazy. I was a little what's going on with the woman? Like someone's hugging this woman.
Oh.
I was a little confused by that.
Kind of looks like two women.
Two women.
Perhaps
and she has an
enjoying each
upside down
other's company.
She has an upside down cross earring, and
Oh, yeah.
that image shows up a bunch of times in sort of the underground
All the anti.
you know, the SLC punks.
Gotcha.
You know?
Exactly. The Crazy Town punks.
Mm-hmm. Now, Eppy is complaining that like God
He's-
has spies everywhere.
Yeah,
and
he's
this
kind
guy-
of getting like a little, you know, he's showing his kooky side.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's not a great guy. You know, he's racist here. You know,
Right.
and he's not a good employee. He lit up a crack pipe and he got in trouble for it.
And he's
come
mad.
on,
He's
why you
mad.
gotta narc me
He's like, I
out?"
lit up
Yeah.
a crack pipe at work and this motherfucker turned me in. You're
Yeah.
like, dude, okay.
I thought
And
a
then he's
lot
stealing
about-
bread here too, and he's like, they got spies
This-
everywhere.
steals a Sammy. This
Oh,
reminded me a lot of when I got out of school and was working retail or like busboy jobs, or you know, I spent 2 years out of school, like working just dead end jobs, trying to like build up freelance stuff. And then I spent 2 years doing that, and then I was able to freelance for 2 years. But the road to getting there was really rough, and I really felt angry and confused and rebellious. And so like the idea of you know, like getting stoned on a lunch break or whatever was probably not far from my mind, you know, like when I was a janitor and you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
So
Well,
there's
so he steals this thing, and then we go back to the mouse. He's in the kitchen now.
yeah, well there's his supervisors are watching him and they see him take it.
Oh,
And
right.
for some reason they don't just can him, even though
Right.
he's already been reported for smoking crack on the job. They put him in a even lower position, like
Right.
sorting the wheat and the white labels of the sandwiches.
So funny. And this is kind of like if we can go to the next page here, this is kind of like the Brazil stuff you're saying. He's got this
Oh, for
super
sure.
high chair. There's these boxes stacked up, you know, and he's just like, you know, they put me so far down that now no one's watching me, so I'm just gonna get super
I'll just
fucked
get
up
high.
and eat this Grendel. Yeah. And he goes crazy, and then he's just like shoving shit in wherever, the white and the wheat. He's not separating the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, Bob does a great job with these rotated
I
panels.
love
and it's
that.
just
Yeah.
it's just
fully-
madness.
yeah.
Yeah. Like you don't even have to read it to get to understand what's going on. The pictures and the text are all working to bring the story to life.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
Mm-hmm. And then on the next page, we see kind of like the scene from issue 1 or part 1 of this story.
Yeah, let me get that out and see how I was like, is it the exact same?
It's
Thing
not the
is-
exact, but it's close. I mean, it's
It's
the
very,
depiction.
very it's very, very close.
Right,
You know,
because
you-
here's Jay Geldof doing it versus John Kay.
Yeah, the first panel actually, it looks like the face on the balloon vendor almost looks like boxed.
Oh, probably
Almost.
might be.
It's incredibly similar. Okay.
I wouldn't. Yeah, that's not a bad thing either. I would say to keep it
Oh,
together.
yeah.
And
It's
then
great.
here in the scene, they're complaining about the rats, and I love this inset panel. Like, what is that? He's just
Which one?
running.
Of
This
him
the
running?
inset, yeah.
I think he's like running to spy on the tower, and then he gets his wrist rocket out.
Yeah.
And it's loaded with like it's like crossbow arrows in the shape of a cross.
Got
and
it.
He
Yeah.
shoots the balloon with his cross. Let me tell you about the devil.
On the next page, he's just like, okay, fine. So I'll just go get some more weapons because I'm about to go for it. So he goes in, he buys a half a dozen Deton caps. He needs 4 crosses. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, how about some plastique to go with that? He's like, let's do it.
He tells us about his abusive, religiously oppressive upbringing and how
Right.
his mother caught him committing a mortal sin. I had to look up how that works. So I found all these diagrams of like, okay, so Eli, let me teach you a little bit about Catholicism.
Oh, geez.
All right, so when you're in a state of grace and you're not sinning, you're one with God. It's not a metaphor, this is real.
Okay.
And then there's venal sins, which stray from God, but you can find repentance and get back to grace. And mortal sins are ones that are like the 7 deadly sins, I think. And like, if you don't get right with Jesus, you're going to hell. So she found up doing whatever it was, and she beat him or something like that. And then his father came in and he beat her and knocked out her tooth and all this stuff.
Right. Yeah. So okay. So he's got that crazy upbringing. This issue, we're really getting to know Eppy. We're really getting to see some of his motivations, why he kind of turned out the way he did, and why he decided to Grendelize himself. And it's funny because right as we see him leaving this weapons and ammunition store, Pellon Cross is coming right in. He's leaving and Pellon's coming in, about to interrogate the guy. Like, have you sold this metal before? Who'd you sell it to? I'm sure you legally process all your sales, right? He's like, buh.
This is the 11th weapons store that he's jammed up and given citations to today. Just today. Well, on this investigation, a really cool thing happens with the captions where Eppy's blue captions continue across the spread, and then Pellon is just on the spread in the lower left. And so the thought that Eppy ends with before we crosscut just gets completely followed through with on the next page. Really, really
that's cool. I didn't notice that.
That's very cool.
And so on this next page, he's kind of going down to this underground, fight circle, this fight club here. And so he goes in, he scans his barcode on his gums here, and he has to surrender his weapon, and he's heading in. He's ready to go.
This is just like the devil is hormonal.
Oh yeah.
Right, with the fights to do whatever. These guys who work for, what's his name, Fat Sammy or something like that, they all have this like extra wide crotch, kind of.
Oh yeah.
like this funky town kind of physiology. Which is
I think that's kind of the stylistic stuff of Jay Geldof, noticing just from that Eppy commission that I saw today.
Right.
This reminds me of the Knights Who Say Knee. Is it them who they all are huge and they're like
yeah. It is like that.
Cut down the biggest tree in the forest with iron.
You can see the one on the right has an upside down cross on his.
But and they all have Grendel tattoos, I guess. G tattoos.
Oh yeah, they all got G Grendels. Yeah.
All right, and then we get some more with the mouse. I feel like we just don't need to even cover that anymore.
There's a rat in there, and he might be dead for days. Someone's gonna go in. Someone's got to go in there and get him out.
All right, so we come in here on the next page, and we see that there's this the devil loves theatrics, and Grendel fights are his favorite. So they get these street fighters, scantily clad street fighters, hop them up full of Grendel, wrap them up in these loose wires, and they break free and they go crazy. And oh man, Joe Matt, shout out, huge shit on this. The last panel of the fight here on this page.
That's really good.
So
they wrap them up in something that they can cheap binding. That's kayfabe for you. It's like
exactly
right.
It
make it look more exciting.
Yeah, it makes you think they're bound, but they're not. And so as they continue on the next page, he is just pummeling and beating this guy. And it's interesting because Eppy says it's free to get in, but to get out, you have to pay or buy or make a bet. And so Eppy goes up to Eppy goes up to the big man here, and he's like, "Please, sir, may I have some Grendel?"
Yeah, may I have some Grendel.
And he's like, I just like this. He says, "That's the wonderful thing about the devil. He's willing to spread himself about. He wants to be a part of you. He's available at all times, even for house calls. For a small fee, he'll even come home with you in your pocket."
Pope Innocent just wants your money.
Mini plastic bag. Yeah.
Right?
They don't care how they get it.
The fight is over in true Funky Town fashion, and the numbers of the fighters are just painted right on the chest. Very cool. I love it.
Yeah. These poor rats they cut this kitty in.
No, those are cats that they put in there to get them
to find them. Yeah,
he ate them.
They've been stuck in twine. All right, we got a cool ad for Mage Here Discovered Volume 3 with the Matt Wagner oversized format, 151 pages, color, by the author of Grendel.
I got mine.
I do too.
I don't have one of them. I think I'm missing the second one.
How many is there? 4?
There's 3.
There's 3.
I think that there's different sizes. I don't know. I have a bunch of
These
a bunch of
Starblaze
different
ones are a
ones.
little bit oversized. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then have you ever seen this Frank Thorne Ribbit book in the wild? I feel like
No.
we've been seeing ads for it for a while.
I haven't. Have you?
News to me. Looks cool.
We'll look for it when you come.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of Mage, huge shout outs to Kevin from the Mage Here Described podcast. He's going to get started hopefully next month. And Ben and I are going to help him kick everything off. So that's going to be cool. We'll have our sister podcast there. And all of Matt's books will be covered. The Aerialist podcast is going to be started in March. And it will be done after 2 episodes.
2 episodes, yeah. Right, so this is Pellon Cross, and he's in LA.
Right.
And he's at Lazarus Solar. I was a little confused by this. He is basically covering, I think what he's doing is he's trying to cover Orion's investigation. He's investigating Orion's investigation,
right,
and trying to catch the terrorists. Okay.
Right. So he's kind of like, I'm wasting time on the terrorists. Let's like do this, the other part of this stuff that Pope Innocent hired me to do. And so he comes in and this lady's just like, no, we're not hiring anymore or something like that. And he's like, where's your superior? I'm a cop. And so she sends him right into Wendell McDoherty. Shout
out to Joe for the drop shadow on the second to last panel. Very cool.
Yeah, and there's definitely some panderisms going on in here with some of the shading and the shaping, and I like how they're kind of like using everything that came before them to create new styles, new storytelling techniques, and harness and let the artist free.
Well, I think if we look at the Ginger Fox artwork, it actually becomes a lot easier to see just how much Jay Geldof's contribution was to Devil's Legacy. Oh, yeah. Because there's so many of like the inking mannerisms are present here.
Interesting.
Or the issues that the panders ink themselves. That's got that kind of like
see the difference.
Stretched like shrink wrapped latex kind of look.
All right. Good call. Good eye. All right,
so
next page. So he's hounding McDoherty here.
Oh yeah.
And because McDoherty's just being a shit to him, and he's like, listen, stop talking. And he's like, look, you listen. And he's like, yoink. Sticks his pinky right up his
He's got
schnoz.
His Wolverine fingernails.
Yeah, and I guess the implication here on panel 4 is that he snicked out all 4. And so one snicked up his nose.
Way up his nose.
Yeah.
Something's happening here with, I think Bob P. and Matt are working really closely to get this balloon placement between the first 3 panels. Because the balloons in panels 1 and 2, they go all the way across.
Yeah.
I think what happens is you have to like, when you're working plot script like this, you I think this is plot script, is that you figure out where the compositional pathways are, and then you script the rhythm and the amount of text to fit there so that nothing gets cramped up.
Gotcha.
Right. So really, really cool. And then when he says, I'm a busy man, and the irk is hugging panel 3. So now we're like solidly in panel 3.
Right, exactly.
Kind of cool.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Again, there's always like, there's never just a regular or like basic comic issue.
You just can't be normal, can you?
No, I love it. Yeah, that's another great thing, man. They're just always doing something different, cool, wild, fun. Helps push it forward a little bit. So he's helping him. I mean, he's just trying to get him more oxygen to the brain, sharper memory. Get it?
Yeah. So what now remember that Pellon is in league with Otto Goldwyn of Lazarus,
right?
And now he realizes that he has to withhold info from Otto in order to do whatever he's doing. And I think that the subtext here is that COP always has its own agenda.
Right. They're always in the pocket of someone. They're not,
or trying to get more power for themselves or something.
Power, money, everything.
The Bob Hoskins Brazil technicians stuff. It's these 2 panels. There's no gutters. I wonder if there's never any gutters. It reminds me. Have you ever read Tony Millionaire's Maki's comic strip? In Tony Millionaire's comic strip, and I'm sure in other people's strips, there's a main strip, and then underneath there's always a little mini strip. That's
nice.
like much stupider than the top one. So kind of reminds me of that structure.
Oh yeah, it is kind of that feel. All right, next page, man. We're following. Sorry, you done on that one?
Oh sure.
Yeah.
This is the reason for the season. Let's.
I know. Yeah, we're going into Eppy's house, and he has this crazy story. Like he's like, I remember the first time my mother caught me snorting coke. I was 8. She held my face under scalding hot water. She like burned his face so he would never do that again. He still can't breathe right. And like he said before, God demands sacrifices. And he opens the door on his apartment, which is wild.
Hovel.
I do want to point out right here next to all his shit is his copy of Devil by the Deed. It's like right there. Yeah. Did you notice that?
You actually pointed it out to me last
I
week.
Sent you the photo. Yeah, that's right. So cool. So much great stuff in here.
Yeah,
like
there's also a Sinead O'Connor poster.
Sinead O'Connor, Lost Tracks, the Lost Tapes.
Great protester of the church.
She maybe someday he'll rip up a photo of the Pope on national television.
He's got a syringe going into his plant.
That way he got some Grendel peyote in that cactus.
Yeah, there you go. This is very SLC punk. It's really cool. Joe does a really cool job with like the dry medium, like these like blue and magenta flecks that are in the brown wall and all that stuff. So,
I need a magnifying glass to see all these things. My old eyes ain't what they used to be.
Yeah, I wonder if in Jeremy Cox it's clearer to see what's going on.
Oh, interesting. I'm interested to see how they do this page because the coloring is so huge. I didn't even.
I think I've been a little too cruel to Jeremy Cox the last 2 weeks. He does a really nice job.
It's just a different feel. It's just
different.
Yeah. He
really
does
a nice job.
A vintage feel versus a modern feel, I think, really,
Yeah.
And we're both kind of like vintagey type dudes.
Bible stories for children.
Oh wow.
Time Warp. Yeah.
I did see Time Warp.
Yeah. It smells so bad I can't.
Oh, dang, that's terrible.
It's awful. It's gonna make me sick. All right. So
So on the next page, we kind of see his setup, right? We see him sitting down and getting ready to, sniff some Grendel and set up one of these video, but he's not dressed as Grendel, but he's still doing these like video, kind of video logs.
The pirate broadcasts, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this one, if he's not dressed as Grendel, who is he pirate broadcasting to?
Well, I think he's recording it and then he'll broadcast it from another location on his VHS tape. It's a little weird.
Exactly.
But I will say his weird, his weird nose snorting bong is one of the coolest, pieces of tech in the whole series. It's very, it's like Dune, how they have the nose.
Oh, yeah, it is.
The nostril things.
Mm-hmm. But that was before I tasted Grendel and found out what burning really is. So we are really getting the call out as like Grendel. Now we're seeing it is this drug. It's the drug that's fueling this new Grendel incarnation.
This will be my 3rd time. I have yet to receive any firm advice, but I remain confident. I've seen the effects in others, and I know I could be the same. So with that in mind, let me ask again, why is there no joy to be found in the church? Why is there no solace for the soul? Is there a different truth from the one that I've come to accept? And if so, why is the whole world then lost in its bitter illusion? What is God? Look at the amazing screen tones in that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is some Moray technician work. Well done, John.
Love it. And on the next page, it gets super gonzo. It gets crazy. Yeah. This is his continuing his crazy diatribe as he kind of gets a little more messed up. I don't know. Yeah. I've been there. You smoke or you start drinking and you're writing, and you can, you look back at your writing the next day and you can see the evolution, the de-evolution or whatever of your creative work. And so that's kind of like what's happened. You get this crazy splatter, and then this is where the cover comes into play as he streaks his hands.
So I think what happens is that he ties himself up, and then he hulks out into Grendel, and the wrappings are what remains of him being tied up.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think that's what's going on.
Yeah,
it is weird. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he tied up his arms to make it look like Grendel's beating him up, like there's two people going on or something. I'm not sure.
I am looking now at both Jeremy Cox and Joe, and is just the Jeremy Cox just doesn't have the effect. All the green is gone, and the blood splatter is not even there.
Oh my gosh!
So it is a completely different experience reading this one on for this scene. Really crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, really wild.
He learned after all that praying, begging, and bleeding, I finally found the way home. And now we see this rat.
And so did the rat.
Yep, he did. He found all that great stuff. Look at all the fun stuff he's got down there.
These are things specifically that the PB&J executive said he's stealing trophies and keys.
Oh,
and
that's
tapes
right.
And all this stuff. Yeah.
There's VHS down there. There's some little robots. There's
so
a skull.
the rat is acting out the same kind of urge as innocent as the gimme, gimme, gimme. I want to hoard, the smog urge. Let me hoard my gold.
Right. I always think that these little side stories, there always got to be some sort of element to them that's like trying to show us something. They wouldn't. This
one's the most challenging. I think we've done a pretty good job the last 2 weeks.
Right.
This one is tough.
Or is it more like Eppy is the same as the rat, where he keeps doing holes and he keeps kind of like digging himself underneath all the things and doing until he finds all the shit. He found his way home, and so did the rat. He found
Eppy's home is full of shit.
Yeah. All right. So then we flash over to Pellon with his augmented cop buddies. They're talking. They're kind of like talking the things out, talking his research out, talking his findings out. About the smuggling, and then he spoke to Otto for like Vatican matters. He's kind of trying to sound it out with these dudes who he really likes because they have the same cynical copy attitude. Yeah,
this guy Zebra looks like that Peter Milligan Vertigo character Enigma. Is that? I don't know. Anyway, so here's Enigma. I've never read it.
I think that some of them are meant to look like some of the other cops that we saw, like maybe back in the Christine era. Like I feel like there was another cop back then that had like a full face piece like this. Don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, he likes these guys. A little bit of foreshadowing. They're simpatico. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, and we get the Kamiko blimp. They're talking about how you need to be old enough in order to buy these books. And yes, there's parental guidance. We want you to use parental guidance. And the guy's like, why can't I get a mail-in subscription if I'm under 18? And they're like, well, you should just lie.
Is that what she says?
No, she said your parents need to be discerning and you need to get a note from them and send it in and we'll send you one. Like, we'll do it. But got a cool Sam and Max ad here. Got the Troll Lords. And we'll be back to read next week's.
Have you read Sam and Max?
I have a little bit, yeah. And I met the guy a few times, Steve Purcell, at the San Diego Comic-Con.
I don't know why it's out of print and impossible to find. It's crazy.
I think there was a rights issue that he had to deal with. Yeah.
There you go. Because it was like there's Kamiko and there's Epic and there's maybe someone else. I don't know. I remember the cartoon show.
That came out for a minute, and there's a video game. Or
like
Genesis
lots
game
of
maybe or something?
Probably PC games, lots of them.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I think it found a lot of footing there.
Steve,
and I think Steve did some other animation and storyboarding work or something that led to some of this stuff.
All right.
Anyway, they're talking about Eppy on this next page and how he's using the gadgets. He's got to be smart. It must be someone like, on track for tech school in the Achievers, like we'll look in Colorado, we'll try to cross-reference, people who graduated, people who were super smart, people who graduated with like tech degrees or whatever. Maybe our Grendel's a Grendel user too. So they're gonna like look for that.
Okay.
Amazing Joe work on this whole page too.
Yeah, the airbrush. The brown wall is a little weird, but the airbrush skyline is great.
Yeah, the purpleness And you can definitely see the Geldoffian nature coming through on these faces as well. Like this is where a page where his style is really coming through.
Yeah.
Damn. And then next page, the Gonzo. You know, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm fairly certain I saw Fear and Loathing in his room. Actually,
Yeah, that would make sense.
I can't remember now. I'm trying to go back and look, but I think it was in there. Anyway, so we see Eppy taking another nose hit off his bong here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's playing back an old recording. This part was a little confusing to me. I think that he's like he presses play and then his hand shakes and he starts.
Well, he's trying to reflect, and then he's getting, he's going.
When he's high enough, I'll record.
Right, or maybe sometimes, like, I don't know, you go back and listen to some of your old stuff when you're super wasted to try to like reflect and think about stuff, or to revisit something, and he's then he goes full Stedman-esque out here as his body kind of like morphs into the church kind of thing, and so sick. Right as the time, like his time is ticking, the mouse, the rat, finds a clock. And Jesus, this next page is insane as we dive deep into the inner realms of Eppy's brain. We see this super hulked out fucking devil, Satan, Grendel. Absolutely amazing page.
There's so many cool details here.
Yeah, gosh. Like his mouth, the oh my god, the skulls, the women in the head there, these like warriors. Oh,
I thought those are Grendels. That's Christine.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I just noticed that.
Yeah, it's much easier to see. This is another one where Jeremy Cox does it like there's no green in the sequence by Jeremy.
It's insane.
And the photo bashing. I'm getting ahead of myself, but they photo bash a dollar bill.
Right. Yeah. On the next page and kind of make it like
crazy
evil and dude. And this is kind of like this super craggly, lanky, bony Eppy who's like floating towards the church. It's only screams and these the money is the devil and money is also the savior of these people, and Eppy's like cutting down. Oh my god, it's so
he just wants to destabilize the system that has left him warped and deranged and awful, and it's like a he's on suicide act kind of thing, I guess.
I love this spread so much. Who's got that original art? I want it. And the next page we see as he shoves the fork through this George Washington headed Jesus, what erupts from it is the money, and you choke on hypocrisies and Eucharist, and finally I bite deep into the side of perfidy and kiss Judas square on the lips. Just
what we're left with is the chair that he's Steranko escaped from, and the wrappings that like tatter off of him are just, that's what you got, that's what's left.
Insane. And Eppy has left his home. Oh no, this is Pellon Cross, sorry. Yes, so and then he has left and he has set out just as the rat again is scuttling up towards the surface. We go over to Pellon Cross on the next page. He's like a Wild West. He's got his lasso atop his head. Right as he's coming up to this Grendel dealer dude, he slings him and he yanks him up off the ground, and he just is cranking through the sky, and he's flipping this guy around, he's shaking him down, he wants the info, just like Batman would hang someone, or we've seen Grendel do it the same way.
This is like Fat Sam. He was running the Grendel fight ring, and he is not expecting to have any trouble because he's paid up his bribes with one of the megacorps or what.
Exactly.
He thinks his bribes are paid up, but that doesn't apply to COP.
Not at all. So he hangs him out and he's like, tell me, I need some names. Like, who did you sell to recently? Who's come in and got stuff? He's like, I can't, my business is this way. I can't tell you. And he's like, he kept, but this guy is now wrapped with fear. He's like, he can't even make a clear sentence. So Pellon lets him down with a thud and he grabs him. He shakes him. He's like, listen, tell me, who are your users? Who are the regulars? Everyone from the last 3 years now. He's like, okay, I'll talk. More great coloring. Looks like almost chalk that Joe was using to get some of these white.
Something dry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At the very end.
And you can even see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I really like how his lasso. I'm talking about the with the thud panel.
Mm-hmm.
His lasso overlaps the caption. A little patching going on
Love
there.
Love
There's
it.
a few spots on this page where they do that. Very nice.
I like how Pellon Cross kind of has this like green goo coming on his forehead, almost to say that there's something in between his augmentation and his like head or something like that. It's kind of crazy.
I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, maybe. All right, we flash back to Eppy's mindscape here, his dreamscape, and he's sitting on top of, a Washington Square Park type monument archway or doorway.
You see all the faces in it? You see the screaming faces?
Oh my God, hell yeah. Holy
this
shit.
is very Cerebus in Church and State. Like the story like comes to a head, no pun, where there's like this mountain of all these like grotesque gargoyle heads.
Oh wow.
And it's like never really explained. It's just like, here's this crazy fucking thing, and like this is very, very reminiscent of that kind of imagery.
Sweet. So Eppy's kind of like looking into the eyes of the devil that he is, that he's becoming. He's thinking of it. He's in the shadow of the church. He's making his way towards the surface, just as this rat is doing the same as well. Yeah. And he's extolling, he's happy, he's, but really the devil doesn't mind being barred from upstairs. Right. Just gives him more room to run around and room to flex, room to breathe. And just as he is coming up, this rat is spizzing right to the foot of the church.
Yeah, I guess so. They're both thorns in the side of the systems that they plague.
Mm-hmm.
Eppy is often called like the Harlequin. We should read Repent Harlequins of the TikTok Man, because there's a lot of similarities in here. That's the Harlan Ellison story.
Oh, interesting.
We haven't talked about how Eppy's mask, the nose is a triangle.
Oh, right.
So it's sort of evolved. By the time we get to Prime and to the tails, they get rid of the nose.
Yeah.
But when I feel like the nose in Hunter, it has this it's like, it really is a callback to like European, like Italian, like clown kind of costumes.
What Matt said,
like it's supposed to be that,
yeah.
And I think that people, not that people aren't savvy enough, but like they're like, oh, it looks, wow, how come? And then it's all right. And by the time you get to like the future shit, it's just like as long as you got this,
the eyes look so sick, like the Darko Macon stuff, where it's just like the squares and the lines. Yeah, for sure. Like everyone has them on there. It's like face paint type shit, war paint. So cool. Amazing final. Yeah. I didn't read much letters, no.
Well, there's the first, Diana's first comment is that I guess in incubation years that Matt drew all the pictograms.
Oh, cool.
Which is nice to know. We had wondered who had done those.
Mm-hmm. I like how she says here that Matt has been presented an Ink Pot Award at the 88 San Diego Comic-Con in recognition of his outstanding ability and his already considerable body of work. Congrats, Matt.
Congrats. Do you think that award get replaced by the Eisners? Ink Pot, is that still around?
It must be. No, the Eisners are at a different, or are they?
San Diego.
Yeah.
And
we got a letter from Jamie S. Rich in here, which is cool.
You don't say.
Mm-hmm. And also Malcolm Bourne is back. And it's interesting that they printed there's like 3 pages of letters this time.
Yeah, it goes all the way
into the back cover. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Did you like this one a lot, huh?
I like this one. I like getting that first, that first vision into Eppy's life, and I really, really like, this crazy world that we get to see, the dreamscape at the end. I love it.
That's the showpiece. One of the showpieces of the whole book.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first time I read this, I was looking for Eppy and was getting Orion, and in this one, I'm really more interested in Orion. Right. Knowing that like his art is just so much more interesting to me, and it's like the road to hell paved in good intentions. I think that like when Pellon talks about Orion here, we didn't cover it. He says, well, he basically says like Orion's a straight shooter and he loves the people and the people are behind him, and it's got kind of that. We compared him to Hoffa, which I don't think is too. Not that I know everything about Hoffa, but it's not too far off. But it's more like a RFK kind of thing. Like he's too good for this world, sort of.
Yeah,
sort of
exactly.
vibe.
He really becomes this like savior of the people, of the downtrodden or whatever, and I mean he's gonna bring down this whole church until we see the final reveal.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about like religion and Catholicism as much as I'm sure we will. Not being Catholics, we are at a bit of a disadvantage.
Right.
I didn't have a friend who was a devout Catholic until college. And the first time he told me that the Pope was his king, I was floored. I was like, what? He's your king? Yeah, he's my king. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So I think with them is that, I think our experience in Judaism is similar in that Judaism is much more open to theology and dogma and doctrine being metaphor.
Right. Yeah.
It
understands that that's what
it's like. It's just like, when I went to Hebrew day school for K through 6, and at the end of it, I started asking questions that didn't get answered until college when I read Joseph Campbell. And the question was basically, well, if we're people from the Middle East through Europe who believe in Yahweh and sort of, they believe in this, and the Eskimos believe in this, and the Native American, like when I got, and I would ask these questions like, how is it that like we're all talking about the same stuff? They just like shut me down. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And when I read Campbell and he said, we all worship the same God under different names, I was like, oh, that makes like a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But to think about, devout Catholicism as it, they talk about Eucharist in here and like, like that's not a metaphor.
Yeah.
It is the body of Christ. And like, that's a big leap of faith.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So.
It's interesting too, because I'm about to read the hype for the next issue, but they call it the corporate church instead of the Catholic Church.
Oh, interesting.
That's like how they refer to it. So let's hear more about Grendel 27 coming up. The infamous bazaar provides front row seats for both Pellon Cross and Orion Asante as Grendel strikes another blow against the corporate church. With her second inquisition in full swing, Sister Amy is thorough in her efforts to cast out the devil, while Asante's efforts begin to bear fruit. Devils everywhere. It's written by Matt Wagner, penciled by John K. Snyder, inked by guest artist Bernie Moreau, and features hand coloring by Joe Matt. Yeah, sweet Bernie.
Bernie's in here for like 3 issues. He is unbelievable. It really, these are my absolute favorite issues. He just brings so much like fun and flavor, and he brings the Bernie.
He brings the Bernie. He brings the Moreau. All right. The Miro. All right, dude. Great chatting with you. I guess there's nothing left to say but Vivat Grendel.
Keep on Grendeling.
Keep on Grendeling.
All right.
See.